should you get Mavuika or Citlali in the upcoming Genshin banner? Well, if it wasn't obvious from the clearly clickbait thumbnail and my numerous previous tweets, I will be rolling on Citlali rather than Mavuika. Notice how I say I will, because this might be one of the most dividing banners in recent history, so let me go through both of them from gameplay to lore, so you can make the decision. And before really getting into it, obviously I'm coming from the assumption that you have to choose between them. If you plan to C6 both of them while boarding your yacht, you might skip ahead and just check their lore. The first part won't really be for you. Otherwise, if you look for the absolute highest possible number, the reality is that you need both, because Mavuika will work the best with Shironen and Citlali, no questions about that, and this is precisely my point. While Mavuika does have some off-fielding capabilities, her new burst charging mechanic forces her to kinda be alongside Netlanis characters, so since personally I do not have Shironen, this whole comp already wouldn't work out for me. Both of them are good options, but Mavuika just feels way too restricted by team comps. Meanwhile, since I have been running Arlecchino since her release, Citlali would be the absolute perfect replacement for Layla in my case. If you remember back my Kachina video, I did say one of the reasons you should keep an eye on any new Netlanis off-fielder is the Cinder City artifact set. If you have a 4-piece set and you trigger an elemental reaction and you're also in an also blessing state, you will get a 40% elemental damage bonus, which is insane! And with Citlali, she also happens to give you a shield that is just simply plug and play in any current Arlecchino rotations. Even though Citlali's shield is not as strong as Zhongli or Lila's, I haven't really noticed it being a problem if I'm being honest. To be fair, I'm the type who usually just dodges the shots anyways, but I feel like she's still gonna be fine to replace most of your current shielders with. She is the first support of her kind from Netland, which means we finally can use the Cinder City artifact in non-Netlanese comps otherwise. And this is precisely the reason why I wanna get her first and foremost. And if you get her early, or maybe just saved up some Primal Gems earlier, then you can just go for Mavuika. So let's talk about her as well. By no means I think Mavuika is bad. Oh no, she will be insanely strong, but for that, Citlali is basically a requirement. If I'm being honest, I kinda wished Mavuika would be a Bennett replacement, since almost all damage comps use Bennett, and I just wished we could have gotten an overall buff for those comps. This though doesn't really seem to be the case here. I would say Mavuika is more of a Shaoling replacement, but once again, only in Netlanese comps. Because all of them are gonna be charging up Mavuika's burst just faster and faster. She's not gonna charge her burst with energy, it's gonna be a new mechanic called Fighting Spirit. Basically any normal attack will charge it, however it's a little bit nerfed. What you want is just Night Soul points. Any Night Soul point is gonna charge her burst, and that's why I keep saying that you really wanna have other Netlanese characters next to her. And while I guess she could be an off-fielder, in these Kinich and Mullani comps it's kinda fine, I feel like this is just a much more niche type of scenarios than how overall good Citlali is. And now, with that being said, let's talk about their lore, because we all know you would not pull only based on stats. And Mavuika being the focal point of Netland, having her own short anime, obviously she will be the more hyped banner, no question about that. Her character teaser follows a tragic story too, with having to leave her family behind, time traveling 500 years into the future. She knows that she has to make a cruel plan that leaves everything and everyone she knew far behind. And while there will be some things reminding her of that past, which is, by the way, just a reference to Simulanka, she will have to start a new life knowing that the people she used to know won't even get to see her plan in fruition. They are forgotten, just like how this video, or me, or most of you will also be forgotten. Okay, this is a pretty heavy story. But on the other side, Citlali, she doesn't just travel 500 years ahead, she has to watch it happen over and over again. The curse of a long life is seeing everyone appearing and disappearing next to you. This is not particularly unique to her. This concept has already been explored with someone like Nuilet. However, Citlali bears herself away from any connection because of that. I might have a little bias for her because I just love this trope, and the character teaser immediately reminded me of the movie Makia, in which the lords with long lives reject connections with humans to protect themselves from the feel of pain once their lifespans drift away from each other, or just simply the connection between humans and pets, wanting to still share all the good time knowing the inevitable loss. That is such a joyful yet sad part of even us humans. And by the way, this is exactly what she's reading about in this trailer. That book is already existing in Genshin. It's an Inazuma novel called New Chronicles of the Six Kitsune. The series itself dives into multiple topics and stories from about 500 years ago, some rewritten, some new, and while editing the video, I realized that this trope was explored even before Nubilet, during the Akitsuki Meshi event, where we could see a yokai befriending a samurai. However, due to the same reasons, it ended in not the happiest ending. However, in the very last chapter about the author's thoughts, in the very last paragraph, there is a very interesting line. 5 centuries may seem long to mortals, but the joys and sorrows left by the things that happened during that time, whether the fleeting existences or enduring ones, are not easy to erase. I think this describes Citlali's feelings better than I could have ever said it. Even if the metaphoric gravity eventually fades away, or if the records of your family 500 years ago could not be found, the memories will always remain with you. While Citlali kinda tries to avoid it, she's refusing to make connection with anyone, with Mavuika always acting strong, knowing that this plan is for the all of Natlan. Anyways, I have talked a lot about gameplay, I have talked a lot about lore, and I hope this video was a little helpful at least. But if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'm more than happy to engage in even more conversations, because I think this is one of the craziest banner combos we have had in a long time. I was Tina on my Genshin channel, and see you in the next video. Bye bye!